Ahoy lads, Sam here. I have an invasion video sent in by Fel, otherwise known as @Felicificity, and on their channel you may have seen the pick and poker video. I highly recommend checking out that video and other videos by Fel if you have not. I really enjoy their content and they're constantly watching videos from my channel, so I can't recommend them enough. In this invasion, there's a 4v1 in the Grand Archives. I really want to focus on the things that are done wrong, no matter how minor they are, in order to help those who may be watching. In this invasion, Fel is going to bleed these players through the PvE a lot, which is understandable in a 4v1. There's so much in this short time here that I want to talk about. Firstly, you roll preemptively. I believe this is the result of there being 2 players behind you and you're worried they may attack you. It also is possible you may have reacted to the greatsword moving, which it's still too early to be dodging and you risk being hit. Both are difficult habits to break. Next, the host makes a critical error that you don't capitalize on. The host blocks with a light curve sword. If you had R1'd them again, they would have been forced to block a second time, and the odds of them being guard broken are decently high. Important tactic with poking weapons is to look away and then lock on and poke. And you're doing that so this blue has less time to react. Then immediately after that, you are opening up a trade with a claymore and you go for the charge. The Lothric Knight Longspear has very early hyper armor, and you'll almost certainly win that trade if the greatsword user just R1 mashes into you. Good choice. There's some regular questionable choices made here, but what I would like to critique more is after you take a lot of damage, you go and use your Divine Blessing. I think that's a big mistake. I know that people use that because they think they're getting value out of the heal. I've taken a lot of damage, so using the Divine Blessing makes sense rather than my other resources. But the Divine Blessing is much better used as a savior tool, something you use to prevent yourself from dying in a critical moment. Using it here, in my opinion, is unwise. If you didn't already know, when you are in the middle of an attack animation or in counter frames, you take more damage from thrusting weapons. The only thing that pains me is you don't have Leo Ring on, which would increase the damage being done here. However, even without it, the R2 thrust attacks hurt a lot. The blue rolls in on your spear, and you make the right choice to keep attacking. Normally that should pay off for you. Latency just didn't work in your favor that time. Fire bombs deal more damage to folks who are covered in wax and or have the wax head. Then there's this blue that wants to constantly attack out of hit stun. You decide to charge him. Normally a good decision. However, there are other players there to attack you. You then use the stairs to limit the amount of folks who can surround you, making it easier to get a heal in. You decide to retreat and regroup, which is a better decision than getting caught up in one of the many corners where you are. You regroup around the sage. You decide to start using Undead Hunter Charms, but that doesn't quite work out the way that I think you were hoping to, and you end up having to retreat further. Now you have all 4 of them focused on you. There's nothing else they need to focus on, and you're being very careful about that. When they come up the stairs, initially there's a couple of them. However, the White Phantom becomes isolated and rolls in. I think you were too cautious, and you could have punished that White Phantom either by backstabbing their roll-in, if you know how to do a forward roll punish, or by simply hitting them. Then, to prove me wrong, you are not always dissuaded from taking risks. You roll catch this blue, and despite the host attacking you, you charge in and use that hyper armor to finish off the blue, nabbing you a much needed kill. This other blue is out for blood and chases you all on his own. which is kind of a mistake, and you roll catch him with those R2 pokes again. However, the White Phantom isn't too far behind to save him. Immediately after, you start to head over towards the Gargoyle. Great place, again, bleeding them through all the PvE you can. You could try to just drag them past that, but bringing them over there is a good move. Once you get over there, you use the opportunity to heal and get yourself up to full. When you're fighting this many players, really, you should do this at all times, but especially so when fighting many players, you want to have your health pool as high as possible. The thing that will kill you is the blender. All you have left now is one overleveled Phantom and the host. This overleveled Phantom isn't terribly well disciplined. You're able to roll catch them. You start focusing to try and finish the Phantom. Makes a lot of sense. The Phantom stays too close to you, too aggressive, perhaps too used to attacking with several players, and you put them away. Now it's you and the host. I appreciate that this host actually does fight you, rather than run all the way back to the beginning or just constantly run away. They are no match for you, though. You utilize those roll catches, you run them down, the Gargoyle's pressuring them. Not much else to say. Great invasion. Again, check out Fel's channel. Thanks for joining me. I hope I highlighted what went right and what went wrong. I might have been a bit nitpicky, but I think you may have learned something from that, any of you folks watching. See you in the next one, lads. Have a good one.